You know, in more than 30 years of practicing medicine, I've heard countless stories about food and health. And one thing that always makes me smile is the way we view certain foods. At different stages of life, we each have a hero in our diet. Sometimes it's garlic, sometimes turmeric, and then suddenly, beets take center stage. People call them a superfood, a miracle for the heart. But as in medicine, and in life, nothing comes with only one bright side. One of my patients, Helen, age 72, once came to my office with a worried look on her face. She said, "Doctor, I've been drinking beet juice every day for 3 months. I heard it helps lower blood pressure. But lately, I've been feeling dizzy, lightheaded when I stand up. Am I doing something wrong?" I smiled gently, put my hand on her shoulder, and said, "Helen, beets are truly good for you. But when we love one food too much, when we turn it into a magic cure, sometimes that very love brings us trouble. I want you to imagine this. You're walking through your own garden. In front of you is a row of bright red beets, glistening under the sun. You think, how wonderful, nature has given me such a precious gift. But what if you picked them all and ate them at once? You might not enjoy them anymore. You might even feel sick. Life and nutrition work the same way. Too much of anything becomes a burden. Beets, with their vibrant red color, are rich in folate, high in potassium, and contain natural nitrates that can help lower blood pressure and improve circulation. They are truly a gift from nature. But as I've looked deeper, I've seen many mistakes people make, especially older adults. We put all our hope in beets to save our health, forgetting that our bodies are far more sophisticated than a single food. Another time, Richard, a 68-year-old former Navy sailor, told me that he juiced beets every morning but threw away all the pulp. He believed the juice was the essence. Soon, he developed persistent constipation, feeling heavy and bloated for weeks. I told him, "Richard, the fiber is in the very pulp you threw away. The part you called waste is exactly what your body was craving." He chuckled sheepishly, then nodded. "Doctor, you're right, I've been throwing away the most valuable part. Have you ever felt that way? When you believe in something completely, only to realize it's not quite what you thought." With beets, many people have walked down that same path, eating too much, using them the wrong way, or expecting them to replace an entire healthy lifestyle. I don't share this to make you afraid or to give up on beets. On the contrary, I want you to see them with a more balanced perspective. Think of it like a musician keeping rhythm in an orchestra. Not every instrument has to play the loudest. It's the harmony that creates the beauty. In the diet of those over 50, what we need isn't a single hero, but a balanced combination. Beets can help lower blood pressure, but if you're already on medication, they can make it drop to low. They're rich in oxalates, which can help fight inflammation. But if you have kidney stones, oxalates become a hidden enemy. And if you eat too many, the natural sugars in beets can cause blood sugar spikes, something people with prediabetes or diabetes must pay special attention to. What's interesting is that many people only think of the red root underground and forget about the lush green leaves on top. Beet greens are rich in vitamin K, vitamin A, calcium, and iron, nutrients vital for our bones, our blood, and our eyes. Yet I've often seen people throw them away as if they were worthless. In truth, they're nature's hidden bonus gift to us. And then there are misunderstandings that cause unnecessary worrying. Once, a patient called me in a panic, "Doctor, I'm urinating blood." After examining her, I asked if she had eaten beets, and she sheepishly nodded. It wasn't blood at all, just the red pigment from the beets. Sometimes, it's ignorance itself that makes us more afraid than the reality. What I want to emphasize is this: eating especially foods like beets always requires knowledge and moderation. No single vegetable can replace an entire lifestyle. If you eat beets but still smoke, avoid exercise, or sleep poorly every night, their benefits will fade like a passing breeze. But if you eat them in balance, combine them with daily walks, deep sleep, and a calm mind, then beets, along with many other foods, will help build lasting health. You see, I don't just want to talk about beets. I want to talk about the way we live, the way we place our trust, and how we care for ourselves at this stage of life. Being 50, 60, or 70 is not the final stretch, it's the time when we have enough experience to live more wisely. And nutrition with beets included is just a small piece of that journey. Do you remember the story I shared about Helen, who drank beet juice every single day? That was just one small snapshot. In reality, there are dozens of ways we health enthusiasts can unintentionally make mistakes with this seemingly harmless vegetable. And today, I want to walk you through these mistakes one by one. as if we're sitting together at the kitchen table, sipping tea, and talking about life and health. The first mistake, and also the most common, is eating too many beets. It sounds funny, doesn't it? How could something so healthy be a problem if you eat more of it? But I once treated a patient with kidney stones who admitted that he juiced nearly a pound of beets every single day. His body, already prone to stones, was overwhelmed by the oxalates in the beets. You see, sometimes we create enemies for ourselves out of the very things we thought were our friends. Another mistake I often see among older adults is drinking only the juice and throwing away the pulp. I mentioned Richard's story earlier. He believed the juice was the essence and the pulp was useless. But in truth, the fiber in that pulp is what helps stabilize blood sugar, keep the gut healthy, and prevent constipation. If you've ever tossed and turned at night because of bloating or heaviness, it may be because you forgot the fiber in your health routine. And then there are those who eat beets while dealing with kidney disease or gout. I remember a man in his 70s who came to me suffering from severe joint pain. He told me he had heard beets could cleanse the blood, so he ate them constantly. But with gout, the purines in beets only made his condition worse. Sometimes, the very thing we believe is medicine turns into the source of our pain. And you know, one mistake that seems small but is not small at all is not washing beets thoroughly. I've seen cases of digestive troubles just because soil, bacteria, or pesticide residue was left behind. We often think, oh, once it's boiled, it's clean. But in reality, many bacteria can still survive if we're careless at the very first step. A subtler mistake, but one I see quite often in my clinic, is eating beets while taking blood pressure or blood sugar medications. The nitrates in beets help blood vessels relax and lower blood pressure. But if combined with medication, blood pressure can drop to low, causing dizziness or even fainting. I always tell my patients, food is your friend, but you need to talk to your doctor so that friend doesn't accidentally turn into an enemy. Another common habit people fall into is eating beets right before bed. A man in his 60s once called me at midnight, complaining of bloating and trouble sleeping. After asking a few questions, it turned out he had just drunk a thick glass of beet juice before bed. With that much sugar and fiber, how could the body rest? I laughed gently and told him, even beets need their own schedule, just like people do. Let your stomach be light when it enters sleep. And something else that troubles me is how often people throw away beet greens. I still see folks discard them like trash. Yet those leaves are rich in calcium and vitamin K, a wonderful gift for bones and circulation as we age. I often remind my patients, don't just see beets as that red bulb from the soil. See it as a complete plant because nature never creates anything unnecessary. Have you ever heard someone panic because their urine turned red after eating beets? I've met dozens of such cases. They feared they were bleeding internally. In fact, it's just a normal reaction caused by the betalain pigments in beets. It's harmless, but the real harm lies in the unnecessary worrying, that restless fear that steals our sleep and peace of mind. And finally, perhaps the biggest mistake, relying only on beets while ignoring other vegetables. A healthy diet never comes from just one ingredient. You can't live well with only a single instrument playing. You need the whole orchestra. Beets are just one note in the symphony of your health. You see, each mistake is not really a sign, but simply a reminder. Beets are still a precious gift, but for them to be a true companion, not a burden, we need understanding, moderation, and above all, the ability to listen to our own body. You know, after so many years in this profession, one thing I've learned is that health is never found in a single pill or a single food. It lives in the small habits, repeated every day. A balanced meal, a leisurely walk in the park, a deep night's sleep, or even just a genuine smile shared with loved ones. Beets can certainly be part of that journey, but let them walk alongside leafy greens, fruits, whole grains, and even the quiet moments of the soul. Eat them with gratitude, but also with wisdom. Don't turn them into a burden, and don't place on them expectations they were never meant to carry. I remember a 75-year-old woman once told me, "Doctor, I eat beets every week, but I eat them as a joy, not as a medicine." And you know, that attitude itself is the real medicine. When we savor, when we are grateful, and when we live in balance, the body responds with ease and vitality. Have you ever thought about this? That our health, whether we're 50, 60, or 70, doesn't come from chasing some miracle cure, but from the way we live with ourselves. I believe the answer lies within your own experience. So the next time you hold a bright red beet in your hand, remember, it's not a miracle. It's simply a friend, a good friend if you treat it with respect, but it can become an unwelcome one if you force it too much. Eat just enough, live fully, and let beets, together with other foods, contribute to a harmonious symphony of health, giving you the energy to enjoy later life not just longer, but deeper and happier. I want you to remember this: health doesn't come from extremes, it comes from balance. And it is you, not the beet, who is the conductor of that symphony. Thank you for listening to me today. If you found these insights helpful, please share them with your friends so we can grow older together, not just by years, but with wisdom, strength, and love.